Good afternoon. A couple of weeks ago, I was sitting in the lobby of a big pharmaceutical company in the UK, and they made me wait, as all good retailers do. And they had a mini museum in their reception area. And as I was kind of reading through it and scrolling through it, I realized the company I was about to see is 160 years old, and asked me to come in to provide a lunch and learn session. And I was like, what can a company that has been around for 160 years learn from a company that actually just this weekend turned 16, a mere 16 years old? And for me, that kind of brought it home. Google, Facebook is 10 years old, Google is 16 years old. These companies have been around for a mere decade, for mere 10 years, 15, 20 years. And there you have companies that have been around for 160 years and have seen such a tremendous change happen to them over that time period, but probably never as extreme as in the last 10 to 15 years. And so this morning when I woke up, the first thing I read on the BBC was that a 3-year-old kid in Scotland has just been fitted with a prosthetic hand. Did anybody else see this? How much did the hand cost to produce? The hand cost £50 to produce through a 3D printer. And it allows this little girl that has never been able to actually capture anything with her hands now to ride her bike with 2 hands. And when she was asked, what is the most phenomenal thing that you can do now? She said, I can paint my mum's nails, because she can hold her mum's hand with the prosthetic hand and paint with her other hand. I just thought it was quite profound to think about how fast technology has progressed and how fast it's still progressing. So this really resonates with me. It kind of change has happened this fast before. It's never happened this fast before, and it will never ever be as slow again in our entire lifetime. And the same applies to innovation. So today I'm just going to rush through three main areas. One is how technology has evolved and changed and the impact that is having, secondly, on our consumers, and then thirdly, how businesses and retailers are adapting to that and how they're changing as a result. So when we talk about technology, there are a few trends, clearly. It's the access to the web, it's the speed at which we access the web and data and information, and thirdly, the devices that we use to actually connect to the internet. So when we think about this, bandwidth is ubiquitous. It actually, Moore's law was invented in 1965 by Mr. Moore. Still true, right? If we think about that, it's still 2xing every 18 months. When we look at the top 1% of households right now, they're consuming over 2,000 hours worth of high-quality music, or the equivalent of, in data, every single month. So it is truly unlimited. Mind you, it's still only 2.8 billion people globally that are connected. The majority of the world's population is not connected to the internet, but that's a completely different story. When we think about the adoption of devices and how that has accelerated, if you look at the first iPod, it took about a year, 360 days, for 1 million iPods to be sold. If you look at some of the more recent iPads here, it took 2 days to sell 1 million. If you look at Chromecast, which is a device from Google that allows you to actually stream any content from your phone straight onto your television, it took a day to sell 1 million of those devices. And this is just constantly accelerating. So the adoption of devices is accelerating. And when I was thinking about this morning, what does that mean for retailers? Well, actually, for retailers, it means that, and I'll put this in a very crude and extreme way, if you suck on a mobile device, you're going to have a really crappy Christmas. You're basically going to lose this Christmas. And the reason I'm saying that is because what we're seeing in terms of Google queries and queries related to retail terms, over 50% of those this Christmas will come from mobile devices. And actually, in many, many categories and in many countries around the world, desktop is already the second or the third device that people are accessing the internet through and are looking for retail-related products. So if your proposition on mobile is bad, or if even worse, if you don't have one at all, I think you're up for a pretty tough ride over the next 3 months, let alone going into next year. Of course, it also enables us with a ton of new technologies, and this is where I kind of need to cross help you to cross your fingers and see if we can actually make this work. I'll try and live demo a few things for you this afternoon. Mobile is not just difficult for retailers. I'll be completely honest, the shift to mobile catches Google out almost on a daily basis. Just the enormous pace and gravitas in which this is happening. We've had to really fundamentally rethink the way we operate, the way that we engineer, the way that we develop our products. And it also gives us opportunities to come up with new stuff. The behavior on mobile is very, very different. And I think about it in two buckets. One, we have to start to actually suggest information to our consumers, the Google consumers. And secondly, we have to start understanding the demands that they place on us. And let me explain what that means. So what do I mean with suggesting information? So far, Google has been a great engine for when somebody types in a query, we will give you certain results back. However, that's not very handy because you always have to ask for information as and when you need it. Google Now, however, which is a product, I hope you can see this, maybe you can't. Let me see if we zoom in a little bit. There's an annoying glare on my phone. There you go, that's slightly better. Google Now takes information from my calendar, takes information from my email, takes information from my search history, from my geolocation. Of course, all of these things Google can see because I've given explicit permission to Google to see that. But in this instance, you can see my calendar is telling me that I have a speaking slot at the eCommerce Expo. Thank God they warned me this morning. I'm here. It is telling me nearby transport links. So it's actually telling me the buses that are waiting outside. And it kind of focuses in and out. I'm sorry about that. It will give me news information from things that I might be interested in. So there are there's news on golf and news on football. It will give me the weather in London. It's telling me it's 18 degrees, etc. And when it goes down, I love this one. It's a bit hard to see, but it's my parking location. I just came from Hampstead down to Olympia. I took a taxi, and the taxi parked outside. My phone is smart enough to know that I drove in a car from Hampstead to here, where we stopped, where I got out, and started walking. It's not quite smart enough to know that that was a taxi. But it is actually telling me that my taxi dropped me off around the corner. So if I do need to find him afterwards, he's there. Nearby locations, etc. So suggesting information is becoming incredibly important for us. And actually, Google Now is a great solution for that. The second thing is demand. So when consumers are demanding information, and increasingly we see voice search play a huge role. If you look at our recent advertising campaign around the Google search app, it's all about voice recognition and using voice demands on your phone. So let me demo that for you as well and see if this works. OK, Google. Actually, let me see if we can do this with sound. So I'll plug this in. OK, Google. What's the weather like in Milan?
It's 21 degrees with fog in Milan.
So that's pretty good, right? We've recognized what I was looking for, and we give that answer back. What becomes really interesting is that we can now go into conversation mode. So not just that one query gets answered, but I can start to have a full-on conversation with my phone. So let me show you what I mean with that. Is, OK, Google, how about tomorrow?
Tomorrow's forecast for Milan is 24 degrees and clear.
So without me repeating that I'm talking about Milan and the weather, it actually understands what I mean. OK, Google, who is the mayor?
According to Wikipedia, Giuliano Pisapia, Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, Giuliano Pisapia, Giuliano Pisapia, D-U-L-J, no Pisapai, is an Italian lawyer and politician, twice member of the parliament and
so I can have a full-on conversation here with my phone. I'll show you one more, actually, which I love. It actually goes into language and how it can help us when we travel internationally, which I think this comes really to life when you do so. OK, Google. How do I say, where's the nearest pharmacy in Italian?
Dove si trova la farmacia più vicina?
Any Italians in the room? Was that about right? Yeah? Good. I would pick a language that nobody speaks. But. So that gives you a little bit of a flavor for what we're working on when it comes to mobile. And of course, let me see if we can demo Google Glass for you. You think, oh, that's all great, and we're on a mobile device. Let me see if we can screencast. Okay, so with this, you will now be able to see what I see on here. So why don't we start off with OK Glass. Take a picture. Don't look so grumpy. Right. So hopefully that picture will come up here. Yeah? You guys can see that. Where this becomes really interesting, though, is that's just gadgety stuff. But where this becomes really interesting, when we think about the suggest mode, look what it's suggesting to me here. It's the same thing. My next appointment. So at 4 o'clock this afternoon, I'm saying my trainer. My shares are updated on my Glass. Local transport links are being displayed to me on Glass. The weather is being displayed to me. Nearby locations, nearby restaurants and bars that I might want to visit. And my parking location again. So this is where this really comes to life. You think, okay, that when we think about wearable devices and how voice suggest and demand starts to play on wearable devices, I think it's quite profound. I'm going to skip some of the other demos because our Wi-Fi here is not quite as strong as we would like. So that hopefully gives you enough of a flavor for how this works and what we are working on at Google when it comes to technology. So clearly, all this technological change is having a profound impact on how consumers are behaving as well. And if we think about consumer behavior, it's the same person, but with a significant different outlook and expectation of what retailers need to deliver. It's very clear that the where, when, and what we want has very much changed. And I think our expectation around those three means that retailers have to adapt very quickly. And I was just going to show you a few examples of how the consumer has changed. I think, look at some of the business models that we're exposed to every single day. Take Kickstarter as an example. Products and companies would not even exist on Kickstarter without consumers backing them from day one. If we look at models like Airbnb, where it's directly consumer to consumer, fundamentally changing entire industries. If you look at Uber, effectively doing the same thing. So the consumer is significantly more powerful and will continue to be more powerful in the short to medium term. And of course, there's this feeling around instant gratification. We want something, we want it right now. We're no longer willing to wait. And if you look at the way that Argos has started to operate in the UK with their click and collect models, I think last Christmas, 25% of all multi-channel sales already came through click and collect. This year, that will accelerate even further. If you look at the infinite piece, we're no longer happy with just a limited range. We want unlimited access to range. And you look at what Staples have done and then the amount of product, the physical product that they've removed from the shelves to make space for digital terminals and actually add over 100,000 SKUs to their product offering in stores, quite phenomenal. And the next example is a video from a company in New York who I think combined both of this. It's Kate Spade. And you can't hear this because I haven't changed the cable over. But that's happened now.
Saturday, we've created this end-to-end experience using our best technology.
For a month only, here in New York, in 4 separate locations, our customers, our girls, can shop from these windows 24/7. She's walking by, sees this bright yellow beacon of sunny optimism. She goes over to the screen which says tap the screen to shop, and she starts. They can choose one of the items, one of the 30 items that are in the window, and a Kate Spade Saturday courier will show up anywhere in Manhattan or Brooklyn within an hour.
eBay Inc.'s vision is to empower the future of retail. one of our biggest opportunities is to partner with brands and retailers to redefine retail and to redefine shopping.
So our Kate Spade girl is having this product delivered to parties, restaurants, parks, anywhere where she needs that product immediately. She's used to shopping online very easily and seamlessly by herself. So this provides her a way to do it herself, but it's got the added benefit of being able to get delivered to her anywhere she is in her active life. We're doing something very unique here. I mean, it's just a really innovative customer experience. The power is in your hands. You can make the decision about what product you want and where you want it and when you want it delivered to you.
So clearly playing on the trend of instant and infinite. And I love this example from eBay now. Anywhere within Manhattan, within an hour, from a shopping window, that's quite phenomenal service for your customers. And truly opening up your doors 24/7. I think the second piece is that consumers are no longer happy with us blasting messages at them that are very much one-to-many. I think everybody is now capable of having one-on-one messaging. And this quote from Angela Arendt, the ex-CEO of Burberry, now Apple's head of stores, I think captures that quite well. I personally think it's almost an insult right now when a company, a retailer, talks to me with a generic message, a generic discount, a generic promotion. I think those days are long over. We now have technology, we have insights, we have data on the individual and on the individual consumer that mean that that no longer is needed. And I think you can be much more targeted. Sorry, let me just pause this for 1 sec. I think customers are expecting us actually to open up a two-way dialogue, between them and us as a retailer, and are no longer acceptant of just being spoken at. I think they want to be able to speak back at us. And there are formats now, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or whether it's something like Google+, that allows us to open up those dialogues very frequently and in a meaningful way. And this is an example from Selfridges, excuse me. And Selfridges is collaborating with Google on their beauty campaign. I'll let you show the rest of this video.
Hi everyone, welcome to our Google Plus Hangout. This is Elle Macpherson. Beauty is about wellness. I have to feel good from the inside before I can even get there on the outside. Guru of everything glamorous, Charlotte Tilbury.
With the power of the internet on our Google Hangout, we're going to look at self-esteem and social media. Is it empowering or damaging?
So granted, this was quite a deep collaboration between Google and Selfridges, where we actually put technology into their store, into their shopping windows, etc. But Google Plus and Hangouts is something that everybody can use, and many retailers around the world have started using as a way to really connect in a true conversation with their customers. Look at Topshop, look at ASOS in the UK, have all done that very successfully. The third point, so instant access to products, personalization. And I think the third piece is that our consumer is truly more global right now. If you look at digital, we've removed physical borders, and we can shop from anywhere around the world. We've done some work with a consultancy called OC&C in the UK, and we found that by 2020, about 40% of all e-commerce sales in the UK will come from outside of the UK. So international sales are going to make up a huge chunk of e-commerce sales over here. We're in a unique position, I think. We have the most advanced e-commerce offering in the world. We have fantastic brands. We have incredible heritage here in this country that resonates internationally. And when we look at Google queries, and we look at Google queries for UK brands, we already see that demand growing much, much faster from consumers outside of the UK than from within the UK. So this is a trend I think we'll see more and more of. There are barriers in place, absolutely, right now around shipping and fulfillment and around taxes and other difficult areas, but I think we'll resolve those and we'll really see this accelerate. This is a big bet, I think, for retail. And if you don't have a mobile strategy, but certainly also if you're not thinking about how do we reach a global audience, I think you're missing a strategic building block in your corporate strategy. Google does help in this space, and Google Translate, I showed it to you on my phone, how good Translate is becoming, how good voice recognition is becoming, and Translate is becoming. There's a consumer side to that, but there certainly is also a corporate side to that. And Google Translate can very simply be incorporated on every single one of your websites. And with one click of the button, you can translate your entire site to over 82 different languages. It's not perfect, absolutely not. And by the time you get 10, 20, 30% of your business from a certain country, you might want to start manually translating. But I think as a great first step, Google Translate can offer a great solution for you. Look at Beauty Bay as an example. They have implemented this. I'm not going to live demo that in the interest of time. So the consumer is very much changing, and businesses have to respond. And it won't come as a major surprise to you that the first thing I think we have to get absolutely right is offering the seamless experience across multiple devices. Who here in the room has one connected device? Right, one guy in the front. Who has more than one? Keep your hand up. Who has two? Who has three? Who has 4 connected devices? Who has 5 connected devices? Right, there's one gentleman in the back. On average in the UK, we have 3 connected devices. On average, we take our mobile phone out of our pocket about 150 times every single day. On average, about 2/3 of all shopping journeys online touch multiple devices, i.e. a customer going from a tablet to a mobile phone back to a desktop and finally purchasing there. It's absolutely critical that as a retailer or as a brand, you have an experience that carries across all the devices. So with that said, we'll take questions at the end if that's okay. With that said, who would be happy for me to live demo how good your mobile site is? Who wants to show off their mobile site? Come on, guys. Anyone? No? Okay. So it doesn't really surprise me. Oh, late starter. Yeah? Brave. Go on then. Let's do it. Sorry? .org. Well, if IMRG can't get this right, who can? Okay, this is going to take a little while. Why do I do this? 40% of retailers right now in the UK have a pretty crappy experience on mobile, or don't have an experience at all. Benchmarking.imrg.org, according to Google Speed Check, gets a 42 out of 100. And on desktop gets a 52 out of 100. So overall, maybe some things that could be improved on this site. Let me illustrate what this means. 50% of retail traffic on Google will come from mobile devices. We're sending that traffic to sites that get a score like this. That's not really very good. That's not going to be very good for your customers. It's not very good for your business. I was speaking to, I think I'm okay to mention him. Anybody from Shoe here? Speaking to Shoe last week, have a look at Shoe's website. Shoe have relaunched their website, and they've gone with responsive design, which means that it automatically reformats across multiple screens. And the thing the guy from Shoe said, he was like, it is amazing on mobile. It does everything that we wanted on mobile. But there are a few things that are not ideal when you look at it on a desktop screen. But I'm kind of okay with that, because it's more important that it looks great on mobile than it looks on desktop. I thought that was quite a profound shift if you start thinking like that. So start thinking about how many people in your organization really know mobile. How much of your marketing investment goes against mobile? How much of your development goes against mobile? What's your mobile strategy? Do you have a site? Do you have an app? How it all fits together. I think that's the biggest message for me. And why do we undervalue mobile? Of course, because what is every one of us looking at? We're all looking at how many conversions we get from the mobile site, and mobile site conversions are much lower than desktop site conversions, so therefore mobile is worthless, and we keep focusing on desktop. It's not entirely true. When you start factoring in cross-device behavior, which now on Google we'll give you a proxy for, because we can actually give you a proxy on the basis of Google logged-in users, we'll see that about 15 to 20% of users will move between devices when they're converting on a mobile screen or when they're touching a mobile screen. When people download an app, when people call you from a mobile device straight from an ad, all of those things have value, and you need to start thinking about that in your attribution models. And mobile allows us to have so much fun. Geolocation, I think, is an unbelievably powerful metric that we get from mobile devices. And I think we're underplaying it. House of Fraser, however, recently did this with their mannequins. And based on you walking past with your mobile device, you'll actually get sent the information to your screen of what is on the actual mannequins. Let me quickly play this for you, and then we'll slowly wrap up.
VM Beacon by eCommerce. Walk by a store and receive a notification. Launch the app. See what the mannequins are wearing. Search for products. Explore the look. Find the location of the item in store. Share the look. Save the look for a later day. Visit the retailer's online store. Receive offers and rewards. eCommerce, creating the ultimate retail experience.
So that was mobile. The second piece is around using data, and no surprise coming from Google. I think somebody recently mentioned to me, and some of you might have heard this, is data makes your suitcase heavy, but insights make you rich. I think it's very true, right? We have so much data within our organizations, within external companies, that is picking the right data points that help us make smarter decisions and better decisions. The background picture, many of you might have seen, but it's a test that Google has run in the past, 40 different colors of blue. And we ran a test on all of these different shades, and we identified that there's one of these colors that makes people click on our ads slightly more than another color blue. This type of testing I would embed in your organization, everywhere within your organization, whether it's merchandising, buying, whether it's your marketing team, etc. But really using data to make smarter decisions. I will leave you with this tool. It's Consumer Barometer. If you want to understand how your customers are behaving online, within your category, within your age demographic, etc., this is a fantastic free tool for you to use. Many of you will be using Google Trends and other tools that are publicly available. This is often the one that people have never heard of, and I think is one of the most powerful things. So have a look at this yourself, Consumer Barometer. And finally, how do we keep innovating? In this space where technology is changing so rapidly, our consumer is constantly evolving. How do we make time? How do we make space? How do we organizationally structure so we can actually keep innovating and keep up with this relentless change? Any ideas what this was? Any guesses? No? It was the New York Times writing that Google was building an elevator to space, and that we're building a physical elevator from Earth to space. That was one of the projects that they thought we might be working on in Google X. Well, Google X we set up to think about really big issues for us, global issues that we thought technology might actually solve. And the way we think about it is there is a huge issue affecting billions. There is an extreme solution, a radical solution that can be applied to solve it. And there is a piece of technology that in the next 3 to 5 years might actually come through to actually help us solve this problem. So when those three pieces come together, we get quite excited. and we start thinking about a problem. Now, what does this mean? If you think about driverless cars as an example, or self-driving cars, as we should call them, a huge issue is that about 1.2 million people every year die because of car crashes. There are many other issues with cars. The fact that LA is about 50% car parking or roads in terms of city planning, that's another big issue. But let's focus on the actual fatal accidents. Secondly, the radical solution would be to actually remove about 80% of this room from cars, i.e. all men should never ever drive a car again, because we cause the accidents, we drive too fast, and we're unsafe. And the breakthrough piece of technology in this instance actually became, how do we combine sensors as well as mapping data? And then you get this kind of concept here, where a car is self-driving on the motorway, and the sensors on top of the car, as well as the mapping information of the road, allows us to anticipate the traffic and navigate through in a very safe way, reducing accidents as a result. We've now taken that one step further, and this is actually the latest prototype of a complete driverless car, i.e. there is no steering wheel, there are no paddles, it's completely self-driving, early prototype of Google driverless car. You guys are all going to look at this and say, yes, but we're retailers. We're companies that don't have Google budgets. And how are we going to deal with this? How are we going to incorporate this in our organization? And in interest of time, I'm going to skip this, but have a look at what we did together with Sainsbury's on Sainsbury's Food Rescue, where we incorporated technology into something quite innovative. Retailers are starting to do this. You look at Tesco Labs, you look at what Argos have just done in Victoria, where they opened up a digital innovation hub. You look at Nordstrom. I'm going to play you a quick video of how they are thinking about this. And they're doing this in a retail way. They've made that their own, but they've actually set up a unit within their organization that can innovate at pace, fail very fast, but go through a lot of iterations and quickly get it in front of their customer to try and keep up with this innovation. So I'm going to show you this video, and then that's it for me.
I'm JB Brown, the Nordstrom Innovation Lab Manager, and this is the lab. We work on 1-week experiments. Somebody will have an idea, and we'll find a way to figure out how to prove if the idea is going to work. The Nordstrom Innovation Lab is a lean startup inside of a Fortune 500 company. A typical day in the Innovation Lab starts at about 9:30, where we'll have our stand-up meeting and figure out what we're going to do for that day and what we're going to try and accomplish. Once we've done that, our work is visible on our Kanban board, and people then start pulling work throughout the day to knock off what we're trying to accomplish. And then at the end of our week, we have a retrospective meeting where we talk about not necessarily about the work we accomplished, but how we do as a team. We may create a prototype, a working prototype of software that we write. We may also just create a presentation based on leaner methods. So paper prototypes will draw things out and then put them in front of people and say, okay, what would you click on now? And they use a pen to say what they're going to click on, and then determine if it's a good solution, and if it is, then work on a more functioning prototype. The most exciting part about working at this pace is the team that works on it bonds together, and just a community of people that just want to work together and find out the real results, and it's really fun, and you don't have to have that red tape getting in the way. As we evolve and have new competitors, we will need to take risks but not lose money while we're taking those risks. So the gains are always a market opportunity. You get more customers or push your brand out to more people. The reason you'd want something like this in your company is because startups out in the industry are going to be doing this anyway, so you might as well take advantage of it and benefit from it instead of having them be competitors and having them come up with the new, fast, cool idea. We should do it ourselves and have it be Nordstrom.
So get your mobile experience right. Use data within your organization to make smarter decisions, but most of all, innovate. Find a way to innovate, test fast, fail fast, but please just embrace this and find your X as an organization. What makes you unique? What is it that customers are going to love about you and your proposition in the future? So thank you for your attention. I think we're out of time. Yeah? A firm. Okay. Does that mean no questions? No questions. Okay. Come and find me afterwards if you do have any specific questions. Thanks for your attention.